Good morning, PT Breakfast Club. Tony Maritato here, Jimmy McKay, and Dave Kittle will join us shortly. I got to fix my camera. So, Jimmy, you are in Denver right now, I heard.
Yeah, the line I've said like 15 times was like, well, that John Denver was a liar. Come on. Anybody? Nobody? Dumb and Dumber? Dumb and Dumber reference?
Yeah,
Okay.
I get it. I got it.
I'm in the Mile High City. Yeah, do the Mile High thing, doing some we're going to do a happy hour tonight, actually. My roommate from PT school lives here, so I was like, if I'm in town for work, we might as well get together. So I haven't done a pub night since before 2020, really. Like
I don't think you can use that term. That term's protected. We got.
I didn't put anything before pub night, so it's just pub
very
night.
true.
Okay. Look at that. Yeah, the funny part was actually when I was back in PT school, PT pub night was becoming a thing, and my podcast launched separately. But people just assumed it was my thing, and I had to be like, "Listen, it's actually they're similar but not the same."
Dave is with us. Good morning, Dave.
Morning, guys. What's going on?
Not much. So we've got some interesting topics coming up. I want to start. I think this is it's a carryover from last episode. Now, I don't know if we're allowed to say who, so I'm not going to mention names, but we got some inbound messages. People were talking about AI, digital health, things like that. I found this video and so it was shared with me. I didn't go, it was shared. Listen to the team at Sword Health. And Jimmy, this is going to make your head blow up because I don't know if you had a chance to hear. Yeah. I'm going to put it on the screen. The audio should come through. I just want you to hear the why they created this, what should be a super cool device. It's called the Thrive Pad. We'll play 30 seconds or less. Here we go.
Pain care. Today, we're here to talk a little bit about the Thrive Pad, about why we built it, how we built it, and some of the challenges that we faced. So starting with the why. When you're doing exercises at home, the experience has to be at the forefront. Like you want to
talking about the experience.
We want to make our members want to use the system. So the Thrive Pad is key to unlocking the full potential of Phoenix, our AI care specialist, and also the centerpiece of the user experience, right? So at Sword, we're constantly learning and iterating. We already have one computer vision system that was proving to be great in terms of engagement and outcomes, but we're constantly learning from our members, listening to them and what we could improve.
So it sounds good so far, right? We're learning from our members, we're listening to them, but I'm still not hearing any real why, like the emotional triggers, the anxieties, the things that are going to make somebody want to do this, need to do this. I'm going to play just a little bit more.
So with the Thrive Pad, we know that a key piece is being close to the system so that you can see the feedback that it is providing to you and hear the feedback. So we need to have wide angle cameras, a big screen so that you can be close to the system. You may not have a lot of space in your house. At the same time, when we put the dual cameras that we now have, we are improving the quality of the tracking. We can be more robust to difficult lighting conditions. We can give the system depth perception. So if the previous system was already superhuman, this one.
Okay, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Jimmy, is that what you would focus on if you're putting out a video talking about why you're creating this amazing piece of technology?
I love engineers. Look, I'm
never put them on video. Never put them on video.
I'm sitting with a device. I've got devices in my ears. Without engineers, this world would not be this world. They think differently. So listen, when you put engineers, and I'm saying this lovingly,
I'm not.
Maybe without prep, right? So no, that is not any of what I would focus on. I don't know what he said. There was a lot of words used, but I didn't hear anything, and I definitely didn't feel anything. So I was like, I don't know. That's why that thing. Bring that video. Just don't play it, but just bring it on the screen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the huge announcement, a lot of talk around this company, and they got 63 views in a day. That's why, because it didn't say anything. People looked at it and stopped watching.
Yeah, Dave.
Oh man, first of all, I'm glad. Good morning. I'm glad that you both feel the same way, because when I saw this, I thought, respectfully, why are they putting the nerds on video? Why, like they're literally not talking about anything. There's no inflection points. There's no tonality. There's no change. There's no energy. There's no emotion. Exactly like Tony said. They're also not talking about their end consumers' pain points and emotional triggers. And they're speaking about themselves. Here's why we did this thing. Guys, and by the way, I want to say thank you. Tony said we won't mention his name because I think he didn't want to be mentioned, but friend of the pod, friend of the show, a big listener. Hopefully we can get him to call in at some time in the future. He shared this with us. Thank you for sharing that with us. He's followed a lot of the show and he knows kind of our antics and how I respond to some of this stuff. And so, yes, he's correct in my takeaways on this. And my initial response, even aside from these guys and how they presented this video, is there's already a Thrive Pad, Tony. It's called, you use an iPad and you go on YouTube and you look up physical therapy exercises. I don't understand this whole offering. It makes literally no sense. Now they're taking the software that they apparently have in this AI whatever, and now they're going into hardware to produce a hardware product. It is insane. It's going to easily fail, and this is a finger roll layup for me. This is the easiest call I've made of predictions. Not that you're asking for predictions, but all right, let me kick it back to you guys. I'll pause.
So like we've all said, I mean, these guys, I'm sure, are brilliant. They're amazing. Like the stuff that they come up with is incredible, but it's the typical kind of cart leading the horse. Like these are tech guys. They understand tech. They're not making this resonate with the target consumer. Now, I'm not sure exactly who they're trying to talk to. So maybe they're trying to talk to the investors.
Right.
Maybe they're talking to people with deep pockets, deeper than my pockets. Yeah. And so I don't want to take any of that away. I do think, yes, I love YouTube. I've got over 1,000 videos on just one of the channels, but this is interactive. This will watch you, observe you, measure you. With all of that being said, though, to Dave's credit, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I'm going to try some of this stuff, and I'm like, but wait, I don't want to get an iPad. I just want to go work out. Like, I don't want something watching me and paying attention to me and all of these things. I would just rather just do it, So, but am I biased because I'm a therapist and I kind of understand how exercise is supposed to be done? I don't know. The question is, are you going to love having an orthopedic expert in your pocket via these AI platforms? If you're the consumer, you're the end user, maybe, but it's like, I don't know how useful, how beneficial this kind of technology is going to be and how much the consumer is going to be willing to pay for it. Back to when somebody else is paying the bill. Heck yeah, man. I'd love an AI with camera optics, watching me, giving me joint angles, all this stuff, if I'm not paying for it, or if I'm not directly paying for it. If my health insurance is giving it to me for free, if my employer is paying the bill, I'll take it. Maybe not use it, but I'll take it.
Yeah. I watched, I was in the airport when this came through and wanted to listen to it or watch it immediately. I watched the first half of it and still had a bunch of questions and no answers. So I don't want to assume what the purpose of this Thrive Pad is, although we are sort of doing that, but they didn't communicate it clearly, which is why if you're saying, hey, is this going to succeed or fail? Well, if this is the methodology of the communications, my guess is they're not going to succeed because people can't understand what's in it for me. What do you do? How does it make my life better? Then what do I need to do to get it? They focus a lot on what do I need to do to get it? You got to get the hardware. You got to use us. You got to look at everything we did inside of it. So they're talking about themselves a lot. I think the timing of this video is likely. I mean, you guys know IPO stuff better than me, but this is to drum up excitement. Look at what's coming in the future. Everything we put in our IPO statement. Look, here's the proof behind that pudding. Let's get the guys who designed it to sit in front of a camera and explain it. So good setup. I like the room. Maybe they didn't get prepped. Maybe they weren't prepped right. Maybe they were asked to use AI to write their own script. I don't know, but they swung. And my question is to the audience, how bad did Hinge swing and miss? My answer is bad. They swung themselves out of their shoes.
Dave, you were going to
say this was Hinge? I thought this was
No,
Sword.
This was Sword.
Oh, Sword. I wrote Hinge. I meant Sword.
Yeah, I mean, here's another thing to consider. They filed the S1. They're trying to go public.
Correct.
At the same time, they're announcing this thing. A software company is announcing a hardware product. This is, I'm hoping nothing nefarious. I'm not even going to hint at that. Hopefully nothing nefarious. My point is, why are they're trying to go public. They're not even profitable. They're adding a hardware product. A software company is adding,
Right.
It's basically adding a second company to do hardware is like extremely difficult. And I haven't done it, but I mean, from what I hear, it's extremely difficult. They're basically creating another company. This hardware product is a different product. So I am even more confident, as my prediction last week or the other day of this must have been Thursday, right? That this will not go well for them at all, because you're trying to drum up, like you said. I love what you guys both said. I agree. This is the founders talking. This is for current or future investors, probably, most likely. But they're also announcing a hardware product at the same time. So it's like you're trying to announce something like, here's the future. Here's why you should buy our shares. Here's why you should invest in us and invest in our IPO. This is extremely dangerous, respectfully, for the financial investors out there.
So explain this to me again, because I think you guys were talking about it. I was talking about it with a lot of coworkers yesterday, which is the hinges and the swords. They're trying to get market share. Like, a lot of people have access to this. And we talked about the usage rate. The usage rate was like 3% or something like that. But a lot of people have access to this. So I think it was one of you guys the other day. I've done a lot of traveling, been on planes. We're talking about like gaining market share, like gaining digital real estate or attention real estate. Why is that important before an IPO? Why is that valuable, even if your usage rate is 3%?
Well, it's important all the time. If you have millions or $1 billion, whatever the dollar amount that they raised, that you want to get market share. That's why Uber was not profitable for 10 or whatever years. They wanted to get their app in everyone's phone more than people would download the Lyft app, right? So Uber, basically still has, a little bit more of the market share. I don't know the split, but Lyft has enough. And so Hinge is trying to do the same thing against Sword. I'm sure they're both trying to do it to each other. So they want market share. They don't care about being profitable. They're not even going to watch this. But if they watch it, they're going to say, who cares about this Dave Kittle guy? Who cares what he says? We're just trying to get market share. They're trying to get all these employers to sign up. They're losing money. They'll make a little bit of money. They're making revenue, but they're not covering all their outlays of all their ads and everything that they're spending, their payroll and everything. So they're gaining market share to try to be the biggest provider of this offering, whatever this digital musculoskeletal offering thing is.
I don't know if you guys remember, this is going back, it might have been even pre-pandemic, but certainly going back 4 or 5 years. I had shared a YouTube video where I was like, why are we doing all, focus on this stuff when we can do it right now? And I showed a video where I put my phone up. I did a little tutorial how to connect an iPhone to a flat panel. I'm like, everybody these days has a flat panel on the wall somewhere in the house. And I'm like, I could do what Sword is doing live today for whatever rate I want to charge and not even go through insurance. This was before like telehealth and all that stuff.
Right.
I think what's missing is the human connection. I disagree with Dave in that I do believe a human connection can be made through this screen. I think we can connect with the viewer on the other side, whether it be
assistant.
Huh?
With an AI assistant, you're going to connect with the AI assistant?
I think this is where we bring the two worlds together. This is like I said the other day, I said it doesn't have to just be all or none, one or the other. I said we could leverage the technology that I'm never going to build, that Sword or Hinge or any of these places have built, but bring me, the human, into the mix. So maybe I use their technology, which somebody else is paying for. I use my programming and my queuing and my connection and my funny jokes and my relatability to make it more interesting. And if we go way back, I think his name was Darwin Fote. Do you guys remember him?
Of course.
He used to have a video conferencing thing where it was HIPAA compliant. It was for workers' comp. You could have 10 different patients on the screen. You can interact individually with each of those patients while they were doing their workers' comp rehab program. Like, this stuff has been around for a long time. None of us have had the money behind us to really push it out. Yeah. I think what, these guys are lacking Jared's with us. He said it perfectly right here. They're addressing the pain points that only people close to the tech are aware of. The investors, right? Like the actual patient, the consumer, they're not going to care about that video, but they're also not the one probably buying the IPO stock. So I do have one other little video clip, kind of related. I want to play it real quick and then we can discuss it. This is from Jesse Cole, the Savannah Banana guy. Let me pull it up here. Because again, think of how his video relates to us or whoever the target demographic is compared to what we just saw.
Care about the dollars. Actually, I have no idea what's in our bank account. I'm hoping we're healthy. I think we are healthy. I don't want to be a $1 billion company. I want to create 1 billion fans. And
I don't want to be a $1 billion company. I want to create 1 billion fans.
only way to do that is to focus on one fan at a time. And the only way to do that is to put yourself in the fan's shoes. Nothing matters more than making people feel like they matter. Every single person, one fan at a time. Every game is someone's first game. As we started building this, when we started, we named the company Fans First Entertainment. It was a couple months before we even started. I was like Team Cole and Associates, but that sounds like a terrible law firm or accounting office. We named the company about who we are and what we stand for. Then we developed our Fans First way. Then we developed our Fans First principles on what we stand for and our Fans First experience. Fans First guides everything. Every day, what do we do that's Fans First? What are the Fans First moments our players or staff create? That's it. That's everything. And so, yes, over the years, the amount of Fans First stories that have been built are amazing. They're unforgettable. We built a framework on how to develop those Fans First moments that I believe can work with any business. And I've been so fortunate to speak in front of Fortune 50 companies. You got to eliminate the friction. You got to entertain always. You got to engage deeply. You got to experiment constantly.
Eliminate the friction, entertain always, engage deeply, experiment constantly. Like what a 180-degree difference, but this is a guy that was creating something specifically for a consumer, just like the other company. I think both companies can provide extreme value to the consumer, but the delivery of the message was just so different. Yeah. Jimmy, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on the whole idea?
Well, can you make connection through a screen? Yes. I mean, my entire career was based on connection, not even with an image, guys. I mean, mom said I had for radio. So can you create a connection through a screen? You can, right? It's simple, but not easy. You can bring the engineers in, but we got to give a little poke. There's going to be a little cattle prod. Put the engineers in a spot where they can succeed. That wasn't it. But it's not about the engineers. It's not about the product. It's about everything the guys in charge of the Savannah Banana said. It's about the end user. I don't know what the end user, like what Jared said, they're addressing a pain point that only people close to the tech are aware of, the investors, which means the people going to use it are going, I don't know why I need this. In fact, so if I don't understand why I need it, I don't need it, and therefore I reject you. And you only get a couple bites at the apple with this, right? There's only a couple times that you take a shot and you can try to explain it to someone. Apple wasn't the first one with a portable MP3 player. There was a thing called the Microsoft Zune, and they struck out because they talked about how many megabytes it was. And I was like, I don't understand. And then Apple came along and they said, 10,000 songs in your pocket. Got it. I would like to take that 10,000 songs with me. So I don't know what this actually does. Does this help me do my HEP and correct me while I'm using it? We're all making assumptions because after the first 20 seconds of that video, I heard computer vision, talked a lot about how and an iPad and depth perception. I'm like, you lost me. But can you create connection through a screen, especially around exercise? Let's get more specific. I think you can, because after this call is done, after this live stream is done, I'm going to go downstairs to the gym. And I already looked ahead and I picked my hotel in Denver based on the fact, did they have Peloton bikes in the gym? Because I don't want to get derailed. I started working out again after the last few months, and I got a streak going on, and I've got 2 instructors I like, and I've never been in the same room with them. Tonal has tried to give it a shot. I don't know how successful they've been in my personal life. I've never actually experienced more than 2 or 3 people who have tonals. But can you create a connection and value through a screen? You can, but it's simple. It's not easy.
Dave, what do you think?
Well, going back to compare these 2 videos, and you got the sword health video. I think even for investors, I think it's respectfully a not a great video. And if you're going to make a post on LinkedIn, why not write, something that hints to our prospective future investors or partners or whatever. Right. So at least we kind of get it. But whatever. The difference with Jesse Cole, okay, he's someone who every video that he makes, that most of the time is not even he's speaking about the end user, the customer, but I believe he's making those videos. He's paying money to have these videos edited and putting them out to grow his team. He's using those videos to gain more members of staff that, he can build his culture, he can expand the team, he can grow, the mission and the vision and all that. And there's a huge, gigantic difference. I love Tony's examples of this. We didn't have this plan, so he's shown these on the screen live, and we're all digesting this in real time. Just and regardless of these other guys where they're from, like even if English is not their first language, the difference in how these two founders are speaking is
night and day.
It's massive. Yeah, and Jesse Cole gets it. Savannah Bananas, they get it. And maybe you can make some, jump to the next conclusion and say, well, one is trying to sell this software stuff and now this hardware stuff. And Jesse understands, like, we need to get butts and seats. We need to get people in the stadiums to watch our games so that they, they get a wow experience. And then they, buy merchandise and they do all this other stuff. But there's a big difference between how he speaks versus how the Sword Health speaks to, their user on this video.
And I think it is important. I think this goes back to our individual businesses, even at the smallest scale. If you recognize you're not the best speaker, you love to geek out on the technical side of what you do. You love to talk about, research studies and all this. Cool. Awesome. But maybe you're not the best one to be out there on social media. Now with AI generated, these videos with AI generated humans that are speaking a script, amazing. They are getting so good. I don't even know that Dave can still tell the difference between an AI generated human on camera versus a real person. But point being, know what you're good at. Leverage the, people out there that are better than you for other things. And I would say probably most really passionate clinicians that are technically brilliant, they're probably not the best ones to be the face of the company. They're the best ones to be behind the scenes delivering the service.
Here's an example, and I'm not making this an ad spot for the company I just started working with, but Athelis said, we want to make this, and they honed in on physical therapy first, because they thought there was the biggest leverage for difference. We were getting paid the least and there was the biggest ceiling. They taught clinicians how to sell things because they recognized getting past the office manager was one of the biggest hurdles. So they said, let's put physical therapists in that position instead of, quote, just a salesperson, which a skilled salesperson can do this. But they led with clinicians. Hey, I'm just like you. We both went to PT school together. That won't get you the sale though. That'll increase the chances of you getting the meeting or getting past the office manager. Hey, I'm Jimmy. I'm a physical therapist. I work with Athelis. Is different than removing the word physical therapist, because I'm the end user. For something like RCM, I am the end user. For something like AI Scribe, I am the end user. I can look at a PT on a Zoom screen demo and say, doesn't it suck? Like, wouldn't it be great to bring eye contact back to your treatment? Stop giving your patients the old side eye, right? I could say something like that because I know exactly how it felt. Look at that word, felt, and I can transmit that emotion in 1,000 different ways: story, gesture, relatable. Don't you hate that? So that there's a stark difference about two tech companies who were similar, not the same, not doing the same things, who took a different approach.
So let's take that and let's go to kind of what Dave's been focused on lately. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you've obviously been focused on recruitment. You've been focused on hiring staff and building your presence. We got an inbound message not too long ago where we were talking about, recruitment challenges and how do we find clinicians. And I even said for myself, like, my PTA is still on maternity leave. I probably don't expect her to ever come back because she loves being a mom. That's amazing. But I'm in the clinic more than I've ever been. I've been treating patients more than I have in 15 years. That is limiting my ability to do other things. I was just sitting here last night talking to my wife. I was like, I couldn't sleep well last night because I know there's other responsibilities I have and patient care is getting in the way. Mm-hmm. What's new on the horizon for you, Dave? what are you putting out there? What seems to be resonating with clinicians that are your ideal candidate for your kind of business? Oh, you're muted, or you're muted.
Muted.
Okay.
Sorry. So, been doing the same thing that I've been doing. So, reaching out to them, sending cold messages, posting on, not recently because I filled the role, and then also, but having a challenge with one of my therapists. So, we're looking to potentially continue the hiring process. It's kind of ongoing. So, so like continuing to reach out to therapists and then intermittently posting the things that I was posting months ago on LinkedIn and Facebook organically. Haven't run any ads other than some of the traditional Indeed ads, but the manual prospecting works great. And like I mentioned before, like putting the actual like dollar amounts in there and some of the 3 or 4 bullet points that they care about, not that you care about, that the actual therapist cares about. So like, what's the dollar amount? Is it, is it hourly? Is it W-2? Is it 1099? What's the salary? Whatever. Maybe if it includes health insurance benefits, they want mentorship and support. They want advancement opportunities. And that's like 3 or 4 bullet points right there. So those are the things I'm putting in these messages, or sometimes I use Twitter, like wherever online, just posting these anywhere. Sometimes Jimmy's nice enough to share it with his big following. So that's seems to be working well. And it's just a numbers game to get that in front of more therapists. Are
you seeing a platform that's working better for you across like the different social media platforms?
For recruiting physical therapists?
Yeah.
LinkedIn all day.
I think they're primed when you're there. This is what I expect. I don't go to McDonald's and order sushi, so I'm primed for it. Like, to use an example, if you were to go to Instagram, you might say that's a better platform because that age range that you might be looking for if a new grad would be there, but you would have to do it in an Instagram way. You'd have to be fun, funny, quick, witty, and there's a big way to miss there. So if that's not Dave's thing, don't do it. Like, that would be, he's not doing it. Don't do it.
I've also DM'd on Instagram. Therapists that completely cold. We don't know each other. We're not connected. Whatever. And I just do the same message. I just do the same copy paste whatever you see me post on LinkedIn publicly. That's basically what I'm sending privately. That's what I'm sending in Instagram DMs, or not so much Facebook private message, but yeah, any of the platforms, like wherever there's therapists out there. And it's just asking like, hey, I don't even ask them, my style. It's like, I'm asking like, who might or who do you know that would be interested in this? So I'm not even asking them directly. And then they'll respond. Some of them will respond like, oh, like, I'm kind of interested, or, send me the FAQ, or what, can you send me more information?
Yeah. I'll tell you this, and this is anecdotal, but I've been on LinkedIn more now in the last probably 6 months than I have in the last 5 or 6 years. I've noticed a lot of people that are being suggested to me, right, by an algorithm that are standalone or 1 or 2 person organizations or businesses. So it might be difficult to take one of those people and say, would you want to come work for me? When they're like, well, I've already figured out I'm working on my own. I'm feeling anecdotally a shift from this. And I was talking about this with a friend last night. I graduated PT school in 2016. I feel like that was the mood was starting to warm for like new grads owning their own business a year, 2, 3 years. The advice was 5 to 10 years. You got to go work for someone for 7 years. Then you got to figure it out. And now students are just saying, no, not possible. I'm doing it my way and I'll fail, or I'm not, which probably makes it harder to recruit if people are just saying I can do it myself. That's where if you look at these big, and I won't mention anyone, but these big nationwide organizations, you can scroll for a long time and you're to the bottom of their jobs posting sections. They got a lot of them out there.
Jimmy, you shared this poll.
Did I?
Guys,
what is that?
If you're not connected to Jimmy on LinkedIn, go check out his LinkedIn profile. It said, this won't be interesting. What's the number 1 problem facing your practice today? Low reimbursement, denials, or finding and retaining staff, or other. Comment below. 28 votes so far, but I don't know what the votes are leaning toward. I was
looking the results.
No, not for me.
I can show the results.
You gotta click one, Tony, and then it'll show you.
Yeah,
I can't decide.
Oh, not all the.
Here, I'm gonna hit retaining.
there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
55% low reimbursement, 41% finding and retaining staff.
Wait.
Was what?
We talked about this before too, though. Low reimbursement is because of someone else. Finding and retaining staff is largely on me, right? So people hate taking ownership of things. So I mean, it's funny how brains
Well,
work.
but it's part. But the payment model is part of that. It's
100% agree. It's why it's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a chicken or the egg for me. I was like, well, yeah, reimbursement's going down. I can't afford to pay good
people,
staff.
right.
I can't find good staff if I can't pay them. If I'm suffering with weak staff or no staff, I'll take low reimbursing plans. It's just this cycle that keeps perpetuating. What are we talking about? What else we got on the docket?
I mean,
one other comment about Jimmy with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And seeing a lot of single, like, individual therapists creating their own business. That's fine. The market's going to dictate you, the founder, the physical therapist out there, you, and wherever metro or state or wherever you're in, and the market and your past history of business or lack thereof will dictate how successful you might be able to be. One thing I've learned is that I do not interview or hire therapists that already have their own business.
So you wouldn't hire someone who's also doing their own thing on the side?
100%. And I had to
I
learn
know
the hard
why,
way.
but why?
Well, I mean, so one is as soon as if their business over time gets a little busier, obviously they're going to jump ship and focus on that. So I'm going to onboard them similar to how your company has been onboarding you, right? So I'm going to be spending a lot of time with them in person or typically Zoom calls. They get paid for the Zoom calls. Like, we're going over all the, like, onboarding stuff, all the handbook stuff, all of, all the things that we do. Here's why this is important. And I'm coaching them, I'm mentoring them. Here's the ideal client. Here's the type of challenges you might see. Here's the type of patients you're going to start seeing. I know this patient, let's just say, and I can give them so much background. So I'm investing so much time and effort in onboarding them. And then if in 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever, their own business starts to get ramped up because now they're getting a little bit busier, of course they're going to jump ship. Of course they're going to leave. Now, of course, any staff physical therapist could leave me if they didn't have their own business. But there's always another focus, or their mind and their focus is split to, like, their own thing versus my thing. So yeah, long story short, I am looking for staff physical therapists that want to buy into my vision, my mission, all of that, match with core values. And then if they're great and they get results and all that, then they can continue to make more money. I mean, I got a therapist that was 1099 making 130 a visit. Now he's a little, now he's lower, of course, and he's now a W-2 with me. So he's making basically as much as like a full Medicare visit, like per visit. You can't do that in a Medicare model because we're self-pay, so we can do it. Yeah. But I want to make it rain on him, meaning I want to make it rain dollars on him, meaning I don't want him to ever think that he wants to go do his own business. I'm taking all the risk on the back end and finding patients and the marketing and the billing and, all that stuff, right? He gets to do the easy part, schedule patients, book them, confirm them, go and treat and fulfill the visit and treat them. And so I had to learn the hard way over the last several years to just focus on those types of therapists, not ones that already have their own business entity.
I think this applies to Dave. Jackie's here. Jackie, I owe you an email. I haven't forgotten. Jackie was on the podcast not too long ago, but she said, but who's getting reimbursed well? This can't continue. Dave's getting reimbursed well. The cash-based providers are getting reimbursed well. The and she knows this. She's out of network. She's doing amazing things. Jackie is another great example. She has built such a team culture. I mean, she has got, she's way out in the boonies, farms all around her. Yet when I walked into her clinic, she has an amazing team of clinicians where you look at me, I'm not necessarily in a metro area, but I'm really close to like 6 or 7 universities that are pumping out new grads constantly. And I don't have any clinicians working for me, so she's a great example of build it and it will attract your ideal market, whether that be patients, but in Jackie's case, it's also clinicians, it's also employees, and they buy into the culture that she has created. It's not a transactional, I'm going to come do a job for Dave and you're going to pay me and I don't think about it 2 more seconds after it's done, as opposed to I see Dave's vision, Jackie's vision. I support that vision. It's the difference between the video we saw from Savannah Banana versus the video we saw from the tech guys. You know,
this was a big one when I worked for Fox. It was the first time someone had said out loud, and they said it, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I didn't sign an NDA. But at Fox, they said, we're putting clinicians first. And it's like, what do you mean? We're bleeding hearts. You put patients first. And their idea, which I saw happen because I loved all the clinicians there, was if you put clinicians first, if you build it for them, they'll take care of the rest. So I see a lot of organizations trying to say, well, we'll just market to patients. And it was business first. I feel like when you do business first, you fail. Business first is different than employees or partners first. I will chime in, outside of Dave and Jackie getting paid well, hospitals get paid well. They get paid real well. They got teams on teams on teams. They got better deals. They got the power of leverage and scale. Again, I would probably be, I would be scolded if I didn't say, like, well, how could you, a clinician, get paid better? This is where I like AI. I don't like AI doing videos or treatment. I like AI like bugging around billing people. I started working for Athelis. They do RCM, revenue cycle management. Jimmy's not interested in that. I don't care. I don't care about the billing process. I care about what it does. If you install this into your system, what does it unlock? Hire someone, open another location, buy that equipment, take that trip, retire, whatever. I like that part of it. So at first I was not excited. Now I sort of am. But I think hospitals and people who are doing it themselves or taking ownership are getting paid well.
So go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, it's interesting. I would love to hear Tony's thoughts. It's interesting that Fox can say that they're clinician focused because eventually when salaries, well, their compensation for their therapists have to cap out at some point, right?
Oh, sure.
So how can you fully, like taking it from Savannah Bananas, right?
Yeah,
Taking it from Jesse Cole. How is it possible to be clinician first? If, like, I have a therapist, I have a friend that went to school, DPT school with, and I don't know if she's still there. I think she's still with Fox Rehab.
Right.
She's been there for 12 years or something.
Okay.
Like, and that's great. She's comfortable with it, whatever. Go ahead.
I'll show you how, because I used to fly around the country and talk to everybody. They stopped and listened to what was important to them. Fox was, I'm throwing out fake numbers, 80-20 female to male with their clinicians. They were like, first of all, you have to want to work with older adults. You don't want to work with older adults.
Sure.
That have a great day. Number two, they're like, we have other lives. Like, Fox was started 25 years ago. I want a life. Can you give me that life? I'm willing to give up cash to do that. So they're like, you have these regional directors who are just like, listen, you're a new hire. What do you want your day or week to look like? If you can do that and hit these numbers, I will never bother you. I will never scold you. We'll never have a bad meeting. And the people that do it well and are there for 12 years. And the people that don't are out in 6 months. And that's good, right? So that's why. Are the Fox therapists making $1 million? No. Does Fox wish they could pay them more? Yes. But they're really looking for good fits first, which it sounds like that's something like Jackie's doing. It sounds like that's what Dave's doing. If this ain't a good fit, I could throw cash at you. That's a race to the bottom.
Yeah, Jackie said, these are the things outside of just payment, the things that are valuable to the therapist. Totally agree with you guys. When we were in the hiring recruiting phase, that was the thing. We were small. And I said, look, we're small. We can't pay you the big numbers that another place can pay you. But if you need to take a day off because your kid's sick, no big deal. I'll come in and take your caseload. If you want a 4-day weekend because you're going out of town, no big deal. Switch your schedule to Monday to Thursday and then Tuesday to Friday. Like, we could offer we never offered group health insurance. We never offered big salaries. We never offered other things that some of the bigger players could offer. But that was the exchange. Yeah. Jackie said, Tony saw what we do and are upstairs to make working moms' life easier. Yeah, like they built this whole apartment above the clinic. Like they have the clinic. Huh?
For childcare?
Well, for whatever you need. Like if somebody's coming in from out of town, they have a bed and a bedroom and a kitchen, and they could literally stay like an Airbnb above the clinic. Across the street, they have an amazing athletic facility. Like, I would drool looking at it. It's got the turf, it's got the squat racks, it's got everything a high school or college athlete would want. The colors, the design, the vibe when you walk into the clinic, It's just like, again, they built an ecosystem like Starbucks. They built the third space that's appealing to their target demographic, and they built it out in a farm country. You know, they didn't build it in the middle of downtown Manhattan.
Sounds like they listened first. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to outspend the big guns, so I've got to do it carefully. So let me not try to you're not going to Fox or out ATI. That's good. Okay, but what can you do? Do you want to pick your kids up from school every day? Then let's start your schedule early, or let's do a split day in the middle so you can take off and come back.
Yeah.
What is Dave afraid of? Dave, you're afraid of corporate espionage? What does that mean?
Is that Heather Feel Better PT? I don't.
That was John.
Oh, John.
So, somebody's going to come in. They're going to work for Dave. Dave's going to pay him, and then they're going to take all of their clients away from Dave, which is very reasonable.
No, not worried about that. Not worried. What I'm worried about is wasting my time and effort in trying to build up a new team member who's not going to stay, and then I don't recoup basically my investment of my time and money with the whole onboarding and coaching and all that. I should have a resilient enough business model and relationship with my patient clients that want to come and work with us because of not just the actual physical therapist, but it's because of the brand promise, the Google reviews that they're seeing about other physical therapists. If they have an issue with that therapist, I can put them with another therapist. The speed at booking them, the no surprise medical bills like Tony does, everything consistent in terms of like paper trail and over communication. That's the offering. And I know that if a single physical therapist that has a business that works for me and then leaves me to go do their own business, that's fine. But it's going to be really, really hard for them to recreate that, because I obsess over it way more than most founders or most physical therapists ever could or would.
Yeah. So to pivot just a little bit, yesterday I talked to Jerry Durham. We're going to try and do kind of a monthly live broadcast, just picking a topic. I'm sure you guys didn't get a chance to see it. I'm going to share the link to the YouTube video just in the chat so anybody watching can reference it. But this was an amazing interview. So Ryan Pineda, he's involved in real estate, got a huge YouTube channel. He's interviewing this guy. This guy started a garage door company. It was just him and his mom. They started doing garage doors. He built it and sold it to private equity. I think it was $1 billion exit, billion with a B.
Oof.
The things that he shared, though, like literally, these are the things that I listen to when I go for a run. I don't know what Dave listens to, but I listen to these business podcasts. Within the first 2 minutes, I was like, this episode was made for Jerry Durham. He started talking about, how he relates to the consumer, the customer, how he gives them different options, how he pre-frames it before his technician guys ever get on site. He talks about how the people on the phone really build up and kind of promote the guys who are out there doing the jobs. A couple of things he mentioned. He was like, one system that we're working on rolling out is my technicians will either call or text the customer, say, hey, Dave, I'm on my way to install your new garage door. I'm driving by Starbucks or whatever the local coffee shop is. I'm going to jump in to grab a coffee. Can I get anything for you or your family? It's totally on me. Like, just super simple. But I'm like, again, the tech that this guy has, we don't even need. We can just do that. If you're a mobile therapist on your way to an apartment or a house, and you could say, hey, John, I'm about 15 minutes away. I'm stopping by, a bodega, talking Dave's language. Can I pick you up a black and white? Right. These are the little nuances that make such a huge difference. And then he also talks about sharing like bios about the technician before they arrive so that the end consumer can see them, can read about them, knows what they're interested in. This is what helped him grow to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. A little thing that happened this morning, my wife is looking for something different workout wise. We have a brand new Planet Fitness that opened like around the corner. She was like, I can join Planet Fitness without ever speaking to a sales rep. And that's what she did. She was online on her phone. She was like, hey, I need you to give me the routing number and the account number for a check. I was like, oh, are you at the reception desk? She's like, no, I can do it all on my phone. So she literally joined for $15 a month before she
friction.
ever had to go talk to a salesperson. Like, that is eliminating friction.
Low friction for a low cost service. We would never do that in my practice. I don't want anyone. Now, of course, like, because we don't have pricing. Maybe in the future, Tony, you'll convince me to have pricing on my website. Because people, I don't think, are going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to sign up for this practice. I'm going to sign up for this physical therapy practice and put my credit card in for a $350 visit and not speak to anyone. Maybe we'll get there. I don't know if we're there yet.
I think you will. What were you going to say, Jimmy?
Talking about that video, good and bad news is that the personalization, you need to be doing it. Like the go the extra mile. A lot of these apps, a lot of these big companies are figuring that out and making it really, really easy. I remember the first couple times I used Uber. I think I was in PT school when Uber came out, and it was sort of clunky. And now I get a text message, Steve is arriving in 5 minutes. Not he's here now, and now I've got to panic and run downstairs so the meter doesn't start running. He's going to be there in about 5 minutes, right? To make your way down there. He's going to be driving this car. There's an app that you can, if they have one of those lights on the dashboard, you can select the color. If you're looking for blue or pink or whatever, that's kind of cool. That's hard to do, right? But it matters, and it makes a difference, and it makes me pick Uber over Lyft for whatever reason. Now, that's the bad news. It's hard, and you have to do it. The good news is most people in our profession, in our industry, aren't doing that. So your little bit will go a long way. For now. And I think the organizations that don't do any of it are just, listen, that they just ride along on everybody else's coattails, will find it harder and harder. The dollar you spend now to invest or to figure it out, or the energy you spend to invest now to figure it out, will compound in 5 or 10 years if you still want to be around in 5 or 10 years.
It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder because I still don't do this. I need to be sending out videos of my physical therapist to the prospective patient. They make a decision to move forward, and then I send them a video, and it's, my physical therapist, Porus Mehta, and it's like, he talks, like a selfie, like, hey, just I'm between patients. I heard that you just booked, or I heard that you're going to start with us, and I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to send you a text a little bit later today, or I'm going to call you about the date and time, and then we're going to lock that in. But I just wanted to say, I look forward to working with you. And it could be very, very generic. It doesn't even have to say like orthopedic issues or musculoskeletal issues or whatever, but just the end consumer, the patient, the client gets to see that therapist on video before showing up. We need to do that. Another thing, that we're halfway there by saying, when someone says they're going to proceed and go forward, then what we do is we send texts and emails of Google review screenshots of that therapist. And then it's, hey, Tony, Porus Mehta is going to reach out to you a little bit later today to book your appointment. Here's what some other busy New Yorkers have said about him with success stories and Google reviews. And then over email and text, they get those screenshots of the Google reviews, even though most of the time people are like, we saw your Google reviews and, those are great and all that, but they might not have looked at every single one. If they see that for the second time, no big deal. But we're trying to reinforce their decision to work with us. And it also reinforces like the value, like, oh, that's why this is $350 versus like some other place like Luna that is like just my in-network copay.
Yeah, the power of this conversation right now is you see the reality. The reality is Dave's busy. Dave's got a lot of stuff going on. I'm busy. Jimmy's busy. Like, we know we should be doing these things. We're not necessarily doing them all. There's a lot of personalization that I should be doing. I was thinking about this just now. When somebody joins my 0 to Paid course, immediately I get the email when they pay. I shoot them back an email saying, hey, welcome to the family, and it's not an automated email, like it's a real email. It takes me just a couple seconds to do, but I genuinely want to know, what is your expectation? What do you hope to achieve? Tell me about your business so I have better context about what to expect. Now, Dave, to your point, I never run paid ads. I never try and sell, but it's a $500 course for the Learn Medicare Billing course. I don't get on a call. I don't do any of this stuff. So if therapists are notoriously tight with money. If somebody is, gonna drop $500, which is a pretty significant investment, without ever directly talking to me, I think we can get a patient to drop $500 for an initial evaluation. And then that would lead into a $3,600 plan of care or something like that. There was something else that we touched on with that conversation yesterday, though. It was a great talk. You know, Jerry's always excellent to talk to. Scott's here. Scott said Tony and Jerry's conversations are the best. I appreciate that, Scott. But this is what I was saying. We're so busy, we can't do all the things we know we should do. But this is also why a therapist can't be the best therapist they want to be, can't treat all the patients they want to treat, and run an effective business. Like, you just can't do everything. Yeah. So that's where you build the team, you inspire the culture, you kind of create the garden, plant the seeds, and then allow those therapists to come in and grow.
And then here's the kicker. When you look back from 10 years, you'll recognize, and the 80-20 rule will appear, which is, for a reminder, 20% of your efforts will bring 80% of your results, and vice versa. 80% of your efforts is honestly just flailing around and doing stuff, right? Where 10 years from now, you're going to say, I should have third-partied the billing or ads, whatever the thing you're not good at, that you're burning 80% gas to go 20% of the miles, offload that, or don't do it, right? If it's not bringing you the results, then dude, move on. But I have to, and I need to, and that guy does it, so I should. That's emotion. That's why you're going to fail. That's a reason you could fail. It's simple, but not easy. I want to ask you this. Hang on, before we move on, and this will be for a future episode. Dave, if you had the time to send a video of your therapist to clients, would it be the same video every time? Like, that's their video. Hey, I'm Dave. I'm coming to see you today, just so you know, like that. Or would you require them to record a different video each time, like a cameo?
So, no, in the beginning, and we need to do it, and I need to do it this week. So in the beginning, it's just going to be a general video. And then in the future, it could be maybe like, you know, a musculoskeletal, hinting at like your aches or pains or your muscle imbalance or you know, your whatever it is. And then the other avatar that we have, like the neurological condition, you know, gait, balance, whatever. So you could hint at that. In the beginning, no, it could just be very general, and it's more about the human connection and less about the diagnosis and the symptoms and why they're coming.
Yeah. I would love to see good examples of it. That could be a fun little episode if people sent those in, or we made them, or what we thought was good, and just played a couple examples, and we can talk about why it's good or why it could be better or something like that.
I shared a quick example yesterday with Jerry on the live call. I told you guys before, Alex Angar and Will Boyd, like 8 or 9 years ago. I don't even remember what was the impetus. Maybe I friended somebody on Facebook. I had never heard of them before. Instantly, I think it was Alex, sends me a quick video through Messenger. Hey, Tony, so great to connect with you, you know, and it was done. I would say, yes, like Dave said, we start with a general, hi, my name's Tony, this is, you know, whatever. But then it turns into literally from the car, hit record. Hey, Dave, I'm on my way out to your house. I just saw you booked an appointment. That's amazing. I'm excited to connect with you. Yeah. This is what to expect. You know, and it's a 20 seconds video. You shoot it over to them through Messenger, through whatever, and it's done. And it's unique to the individual.
Here's an interesting twist. All three of us, and lots of people, we get like DMs from random people. Hey, how you doing? Asking questions or just saying hi. How often do you respond with a quick video? I'd rather just be like, hey man, cool, good to meet you. Like, transcribe it. What if you actually responded with a video? Do you think that connection would deepen? I'm not saying every time you send a video, it's going to turn into something, or even if you wanted to turn into something. I'm saying it is embedded in these platforms that right next to that send button is a camera button that you could easily do that. Maybe I'll do that for a month instead of texting people back or responding. Shoot, I'm better just off the cuff anyway, that if I have to actually process it through my thumbs, it doesn't come out quite right. Maybe I'll start doing that to see in my travels, if that actually works a little better.
We respond with voice audio, right? Like, I think we got 3 levels. You've got video, which is the highest level. Then you've got a voice audio message that goes back to them if I'm driving and I can't do voice to text or text. And then you've got text. And there are certainly some people, I would rather just have a text sent to me that I can like visually scan than to listen to a 60-second audio. But yes, all of those are going to build deeper relationships. I know we're running out of time. We can't get into this today, but this Jeremy Sutton reminded me of what Dave and I were going to talk about with like bulk email and, you know, the outreach, the thank you letters, things like that. Jeremy said, great stuff. Someone sent me a thank you note with a penny with a design cut into it. Wow.
Like they printed on the penny?
They cut the design into the penny. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
This was after going to a networking event. I knew why he did it and I still loved it. Yeah. We had talked about different, what's the name for it, Dave? You know, you remember it probably better than me. It wasn't bulky. It's not bulk mail.
Lumpy
mail.
mail.
Yeah.
Lumpy mail.
Yeah. We talked about some of that stuff. That'd be a good one to bring back. Whether we talk about,
do not bend.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Bend?
The license plate that somebody sent Dave. That was awesome.
And mine was do not bend. It was like,
I'm not gonna show it. We'll have to do it next time.
Save it. We'll do it on Tuesday. Let's wrap up with parting shots. My parting shot's gonna be, guys, like, you don't need the expensive software. You don't need the fancy tech. You just need the message that resonates with your audience, and you just need to throw it out there. You know, what is the true pain point? Not the expected pain point, not what we think they want to hear. It's not about the text. It's not about the wide angle camera, the better lighting, and the clear audio. It's about, you're sitting at home nervous you're doing the wrong thing. I'm going to help make sure you do the right thing. What you got, Dave?
Parting shot is, simplify your message, especially if it's over video, and definitely optimize for the best person to share that message from your team over video. And if it's not you, that's okay. If it's not you, it's totally okay. But find someone who can speak to your target customer, your end user, and don't have the ego involved so much if you're not that person.
Yeah, I'm going to say not the opposite of Tony, but like, you do need that tech, but you need just enough. You need just enough. The wrong question people ask me when they're like, I want to do live streams, I want to do podcasts, what microphone should I get? I'm like, it almost doesn't matter. Like, spend $50, buy 3 on Amazon, test out 3, and then send 2 back. That's the wrong question, right? Do you need the big fancy tech? You need the thing done that needs to be done. What is the easiest, smoothest, most friction-free way to get that done? Figure that out and move on. If it's adding another person to offload billing or marketing or hiring, do that, and then go do the thing you're best at. That dude, what's the guy's name for bananas again? You said it before. I can't remember his name.
Jesse Cole.
Jesse Cole. Do you think he's the one running his payroll? No, he was smart enough to be like, I need to be wearing the yellow tuxedo and doing this, and then creating more people who are, it's great that it's baseball too. Jesse Cole is the pitcher. He starts everything, but he doesn't also try to run over and play third base or play right field. He would burn out. So think of the lessons you learned from Jesse Cole is he figured it out, and then he let it go. So that'd be my parting shot. Figure it out, what you need to let go, and then actually let it go.
Hey, so real quick, last night was the first practice for 8th grade Little League baseball, rec baseball. I was out in the outfield.
You trying out?
You know, this 50-year-old caught the pop fly hit by one of the kids. Man, I was running my heart out. I almost had to die for it, but that made my night. Like, the kids had a great time. We all had fun, but catching that pop fly at 50, it made my night. Guys, go find the Dave Kittle Show. Go find PT Pinecast, Learn Medicare Billing, subscribe, follow, bring us topics. If you want us to talk about something, we're at 50 viewers right now. Put it out there. Let us know. We'll discuss it. Otherwise, we'll see you Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 a.m. What?
I'll see you tonight if you're in Denver. And that's
very good. All right. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.